Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was not the wind. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Goon Theory. Gooning, something I'm sure you're familiar with, especially if you're on my channel of all places, is basically the act of pleasuring thyself, and is honestly pretty groovy and brings me great pleasure. But it all made me think. The only other thing in my life that brings me near as much pleasure as touching myself is Fallout. So, what if I talk about both of them? Would I be able to edge for the whole runtime? Or what if I touch myself to Fallout? And more importantly, who are the biggest Gooners in Fallout? Now, the title of biggest Gooner is very subjective. Lots of things determine how potent of a Gooner you are. However, my personal framework that I will be operating under for this video is that I'll be classifying the biggest Gooners as like 90% amount of times they goon and like 10% on their social standing, as, let's face it, sometimes you can just tell someone is a gooner just by looking at them. They stand out. Heck, even I stand out in a crowd. This way, I'll have a good balance of obvious gooners and some of the more underground picks, because I feel like a good number of gooners, Fallout or not, fall under the radar. Also, one more thing, I know women can goon as well. However, most girls in Fallout aren't gross chuds who touch themselves, so I don't know. I'll make another lesbian video to balance it out. How about that? So, with that being said, get your lotion at the ready, and let's get stroking. Okay, on Sean's life, this is the last consecutive video in a row where I talk about Myron. But like, come on! You can't spell Myron is one of the biggest gooners in Fallout without Myron. Besides, when you clicked on this video, I'm almost certain that Myron was on your mind, whether you like it or not. And this is for good reason, as it's Myron. But you might be wondering how we got here. Well, let's start at the very beginning. Myron, oddly enough, shares the same name as a well-known Athenian sculptor Myron from the 5th century, who I'm sure was also a gooner. Myron, the Fallout 2 one, is down horrendous, as seen in the majority of his lines when talking to a female chosen one.
Hello there, beautiful. What can Myron do for you? Of course you are. Have a seat on the bed. Now, you just relax, sweet meat.
This guy is literally an Epstein blood waiting to happen. There's no analogies I can make, no witty commentaries, no yapping, nothing. You saw this coming, we all did. Among every kind of person you'll meet in this goon-filled world, serial killers are surprisingly some of the most likely to be gooners, as seen in a study that probably exists. Think back to Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Yoshikage Kira. All of their violent crimes were heavily influenced in some way by sexual fantasy, whether it be Ted Bundy claiming that violent pornography was the reason he killed over 30 women, or Jeffrey Dahmer, who I'm not even going to get into because goddamn. The moral of the story is that the atrocities of most serial killers go hand in hand with sexual fantasies, and Pickman from Fallout 4 is no different. Pickman considers each and every murder of his an art piece. There's gotta be some gooning analogy here. Now, I'm gonna leave whether or not these murders are some kind of sexual fantasy ambiguous, because I don't really want to get my channel deleted yet, but let's just look at the facts. Most freaky serial killers who make sick, ritualistic atrocities like Pickman are usually gooners, so would it really be a stretch to assume that Pickman churns the butter? No, it wouldn't. So Pickman is a massive fucking gooner. Okay, I hear you, but I don't care. Ulysees is a gooner. Now, if your monitor hasn't been punched into smithereens yet, congratulations. Let me explain. So Ulysees, at first glance, is the closest thing to a Fallout Giga Chad. He has a 10 in every special stat, as well as more aura than any character in the franchise. So, why would you goon if you're nearly perfect? Well, I would know. My friend Ulysees isn't a traditional gooner, who goons out of pleasure. No, that's not what he is at all. Ulysees is a revenge beater, and if you're an actual good person, then you might not know what I'm talking about. Let me change that. A revenge beater is basically someone who goons out of hatred towards someone else. Gooning to them to send a message? Yeah, I don't know. However, what I do know is that there's someone Ulysees really, really hates. You. Yes, you, the courier. Ulysees fucking despises your guts, despite the player never even meeting him. This man is such a big hater that, spoiler warning for a DLC that came out literally 15 years ago, he is willing to launch 2 nuclear missiles. Not at you, bear in mind, but 2 not really innocent civilizations that have nothing to do with your guys' beef. So, you really think Ulysees is more willing to literally start a second nuclear holocaust than revenge goon to the courier? Yeah, that doesn't add up. So either Lonesome Road is a poorly written DLC, or Ulysees is a revenge beater. And I think we know which one is the answer here. And besides, how do you think he kept himself entertained all alone waiting for you at the end of Lonesome Road? In fact, at the end of Lonesome Road, those speech checks that you use on him are really just really freaky pickup lines that made him explode. And the real reason he joins your side is the post-nut clarity. So what I'm trying to say here is that, yes, Ulysees from Fallout New Vegas revenge goons to you, the viewer. Now, fun fact, gooning, despite popular belief and what the nofap community says, isn't just instantly becoming a fat neckbeard chud who uses Reddit all day. That is only a small portion of gooners. Most real gooners are deep in the closet and are what we in the business like to call functional gooners. And Benny is one of those. And if you're a bit slow and the name isn't on the nose enough for you, a functional gooner is basically someone who actively indulges in self-pleasure while managing to keep up a high social profile, not appearing as the true chud they are. Like I said before, there are a lot of functional gooners out there, as that's the only real way to justify the act. Not all of us can rot in our parents' basement making gay Fallout videos. Anyways, now that we have the terminology, let me explain why Benny is a functional gooner. Now Benny, despite getting play from, well, you, is still a massive closeted chud incel who manipulates women and shows a severe lack of sexual maturity, which is something that gooning, typically to external material such as pornography, or my channel, is typically linked to. Furthermore, Benny is also a certified freak in the bedroom, much like most gooners. However, unlike most gooners, Benny has a massive fucking foot fetish, which does not help the allegations. The only real hole in the Benny as a gooner theory is that he kind of gets play. However, I know a lot of gooners who get play. Heck, I own mirrors. Who the fuck am I kidding? I'm such a fucking chud. Studies show that an intense, debilitating masturbation addiction causes severe brain fog, and fantastic is quite literally brain fog the person. A clear and concise thought hasn't left this dude's brain since New Vegas released way back in 2010, giving him plenty of time for his stupidity to ferment. Now, fantastic bordering a disability aside, that isn't the only reason I consider him to be one of the biggest gooners in Fallout, as despite having a theoretical degree in physics, Fantastic is also a giant fucking chud whose laziness nearly matches my own. He's one of, if not the most unemployed people in the Mojave. Okay, wait, bear with me here. Yeah, I know he works at Helios 1, but having a job has nothing to do with being employed. It's a mindset. Hence why people keep commenting, wholly unemployed on my channel, despite me working part-time, working 4 hours a week. Despite being an extremely hard worker, I'm still considered an unemployed bum, which goes to show that Fantastic can be a lazy chud as well. And being a lazy chud is one of the telltale signs of being a powerful Gooner, so Fantastic is a huge Gooner. You utter fool. Not all Gooners are creepy towards women. That's just a common misconception and piece of propaganda spread by the nofap community. And, in fact, being creepy towards women is a sign of an amateur Gooner, in my opinion. Now, the reason I say this is because showing interest in real women is a sign that you aren't gooning enough. If you are able to get out of bed easily in the morning, then you are a low-tier Gooner. However, this is only true to a point, as top-tier Gooners, and I mean like the top 1 percentile of beaters, actually show interest in women, as unlike the amateurs, there is no amount of gooning that can slow them down. Dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same, or should I say gooning. It's all pointless. They are always ready to get their freak on. With that all being said though, the last 71 words I said don't apply to Fantastic whatsoever, as he doesn't really show interest in real women, so Fantastic is only a high-tier Gooner at best. However, the thing that separates Fantastic from all the other Gooners in this list is his chudness, which is why I believe that Fantastic is one of the biggest Gooners in Fallout. Cachino, despite being born with a pretty cool name, still manages to be one of the worst characters in the franchise. Mainly for being a rapist, as seen with his incredibly troubled relationship with Joanna, a known bi-queen turned prostitute who works at the Gomorrah, who details all of Cachino's shady, disgusting activities. Now I know all Gooners aren't like that, but I do know almost all of those are Gooners. Furthermore, I think Cachino is a Gooner because he just has the Gooner physicality. He is one of those examples I stated earlier of people who just look like they goon hard. He's short, bald, and has the appearance of someone with high cortisol. And besides,
I banged Lot's wife and licked her salty ass. The fuck do I look like?
would someone who doesn't goon ever say something like this? So yeah, even though Cachino supposedly gets play, it doesn't matter because he doesn't have any respect nor love for those women he's cracking. At that point, it's barely even real intercourse, which is why I believe that Cachino is one of the biggest Gooners in Fallout. And last, but certainly not least, we have my Discord server. Whether it be talking about cracking Deathclaws, Vulpes and Colta, or tall brunettes, we're all cooked. So if you're a Gooner, or are wanting to become one, then join the Noodle God Discord server today. You won't regret it until later, and besides, next time I make a video, members of my Discord server are usually the first people I discuss with. So there you have it, the biggest Gooners in the Fallout franchise. I very much hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, or even learned anything, then please subscribe and like the video. The bigger my channel gets, the more love I put into these videos. So do that. I feel like there's a lot more Gooners in the franchise we could have talked about, and arguably bigger Gooners out there. However, I can't really name any of them out of mostly incompetence anyways. One other thing. I've been kind of wanting to do more Skyrim content as of late, so leave a comment about that, whether or not you even want to see that, because with Skyrim's track record on this channel, I don't even know if it's welcome. So I don't know, I think if this video gets 400 likes, then I'll make a biggest Gooners in Skyrim video. Once again, huge thank you for making it to the end of the video, and as always, God bless the Enclave, God bless America, Noodle Gooner signing off. Also join my Discord server, we're almost at 100